Today's plant-based nutrition topic is often a hot topic of debate, which is protein. Tell someone you're going vegan, vegetarian, or plant-based and you're almost guaranteed to get asked, but where do you get your protein? Most people seem to be at least somewhat familiar with protein, but just a little background information. Protein is one of three macronutrients. It's protein, carbohydrates, and fats or lipids. Those are the three macronutrients. They are energy yielding, so our calories come from those three: fats, protein, carbohydrates. If you watched the last video, I talked about fats being 9 calories per gram. Protein and carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. So you have macronutrients and then micronutrients, and the micronutrients are vitamins and minerals. Most people are familiar with protein because it helps with muscle growth. That's true. Protein helps to build and repair tissue, but it has a lot of other functions in the body, dealing with enzymes, hormones, and other chemical reactions. So protein is very important to be having in your diet. Protein is made up of amino acids, and there are 20 different amino acids that make up protein in different variations depending on the food. So with those 20 amino acids, 9 of them are considered essential and the other 11 are non-essential. So the essential amino acids are the amino acids that our body doesn't make, so we have to obtain those from food. On that same note, foods that contain, like a single food, if it contains all 9 essential amino acids, then it's considered a complete protein. And if it's missing one or more, or it has too low of a quantity of one of those amino acids, it's considered incomplete. So usually plant proteins are considered incomplete because they don't have all 9 essential amino acids, but there are some plant proteins that do have all 9. So soy, hemp, chai, buckwheat, there are a few others. Those are plants that are considered complete proteins because they have good quantities of all 9 essential amino acids. There are a ton of plants that are incomplete proteins, but you don't necessarily need to consume all 9 in one meal or one sitting in order to get an adequate amount of amino acids to eventually, get the right amount of protein for the day. If I were to have beans during one meal, rice during another, it all accumulates throughout your time eating in order to give you what you need. Generally, when you're eating a variety, whole food, plant-based diet, you're gonna get all the amino acids you need. So that's usually not a concern at all. I know a lot of people think that vegans or plant-based people are deficient in protein, but that is really not the case. Thankfully, all plants have protein. So even lettuce, broccoli, banana, all of those fruits, vegetables, legumes, grains have some amount of protein in them. Some of the foods may be missing certain amino acids, and then you eat another food and that fills the gap. If you're eating a wide variety of plants, you're going to get the adequate amount of protein. So you don't have to calculate exactly what you're eating. There was a myth a long time ago that in like one meal you had to make sure if something was lacking a certain amino acid, you had to fill it with something else. So like rice and beans together, those are complete protein. So it used to be that people thought you had to eat those together in order to get the benefits of the full protein, and that's not the case. Things add up throughout the day, throughout time eating. Like I said before, all plants have protein, which is good news. A few examples here. So peanut butter, 8 grams of protein. Lentils, 8 grams of protein. Hemp hearts, always add these to my oatmeal in the morning, 10 grams of protein. Woo-woo! Black-eyed peas, 8 grams. Nutritional yeast, if you have not had nutritional yeast before, sprinkle that bish on everything. 5 grams of protein. So that's just a handful of things. Like I said, broccoli even has protein. It's not going to have a whole ton. It's not going to compare to hemp hearts, but it does have some of those essential amino acids that we need. If you're concerned about protein and trying to calculate how much you need, the recommended dietary allowance of protein is about 0.8 grams per kilogram. That's just like the basic requirement. Everyone's different, male, female, a lot of other things can go into it, but 0.8 to every kilogram, just to put that into perspective, for me that would be 44 grams of protein That is nothing. I just showed some of the food examples. That would be really easy to get in a day. If you're more active, you're going to need more than that if you're lifting heavy and stuff. But again, that's super easy to get. That's just to put it into perspective. There's other ways to calculate protein, but 44 grams is really not that much. I won't go too deep into the negative or the drawbacks of consuming protein from animals, whether that's meat or dairy, but the list of negatives are way outweighed by the positives. It contributes to most of the leading causes of disease in the world right now. Cancer, heart disease, stroke, erectile dysfunction, and the list goes on. So consuming meat, though it is often higher in protein, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's healthier for you. Also, when you consume meat, you're not only consuming the protein, which most people focus on or fixate on. Oh, I'm getting all my protein from the hamburger or the dairy or whatever. You're also getting saturated fat and cholesterol, which the body doesn't need. So our bodies actually make all the cholesterol that we need. So when you're consuming a cheeseburger with bacon on top, you are just clogging those arteries and adding unnecessary cholesterol to the body. Ultimately, if that's repetitive, leading to those diseases I mentioned before, like heart disease. Plants, on the other hand, have been proven to reverse and prevent disease. There's a lot of research out there. I can put some links below if you're interested. But that consuming plants, because you're not only getting the protein, the carbohydrate, you're getting everything from plants. The micronutrients, which are absent in meat and dairy, are plentiful in plants. So you're not only getting the macronutrients that help give energy to your body, but you're also getting the vitamins, the minerals. Another thing plants have that meat is lacking is fiber. That's huge. It helps with digestion. It helps with many, many other things in the body. I think I might do a different video about fiber. But plants, or meat and dairy, don't have fiber. Plants do, along with those micronutrients that the body needs. If you have recently given up meat or dairy, or you're far along in your journey, or just thinking about going that way, do not worry. You are going to get enough protein. The biggest recommendation is to eat a variety of plants, and you will be good to go. So next time someone says where you get your protein, tell them to shove it. Just kidding. Tell them from plants.